The night sky above Pinewood was clear and full of stars. Most people in the small town were asleep, unaware of the dark shape that moved silently above their homes. The Drekthar scout ship hovered in Earth's orbit, its advanced cloaking system, hiding it from human radar and satellites. On the bridge of the ship, Admiral Zeeklorn stood with his forearms crossed over his chest. His green scales shimmered under the dim lights as he looked at the blue planet on the view screen. "Is the collection team ready?" he asked. Officer Dren nodded. "Yes, Admiral. But I must remind you that the science team advised against this mission. They believe direct contact with humans is too risky." Admiral Zeeklorn waved a dismissive hand. "The Conquered has kept us away from this planet for too long. They claim humans are dangerous, but look at their primitive technology. They haven't even colonized their own moon properly." He pointed to Earth. "We need fresh specimens for our research, and young ones learn the fastest." In the suburban neighborhood below, the Mitchell family was starting their morning routine. Karen Mitchell packed lunches while her husband Frank poured cereal for their twins. "Mom, we're going to the Science Center today," Emma said, bouncing in her seat. Her brother Ethan nodded, his mouth full of cereal. "I know, sweetie. That's why I packed extra snacks." Karen zipped up the lunch bags and handed them to the children. "Frank, don't forget you're picking them up today. I have that meeting that runs late." Frank nodded and sipped his coffee. "Got it. I'll be there at 3. He had no way of knowing that he wouldn't see his children at 3 o'clock or any time soon. At Pinewood Elementary School, Ms. Rivera's third-grade class lined up by the yellow school bus. 24 excited 8-year-olds clutched their permission slips and lunch bags. "Remember to stay with your buddy," Ms. Rivera said, checking names off her list. "Emma and Ethan Mitchell?" "Here," the twins said together. "Perfect. Okay, everyone. Let's get on the bus and head to the Science Center." The bus ride was filled with chatter and laughter. Emma sat next to Ethan, telling him about the dinosaur exhibit she wanted to see most. 2 hours later, the children explored the Pinewood Science Center. They had just finished watching a show about planets in the small planetarium. "And now we'll have lunch in the garden area," Ms. Rivera announced. "After lunch, we'll see the new exhibit on space exploration." The children sat at picnic tables, under tall oak trees. The Science Center was built on the edge of town, surrounded by woods that gave it a peaceful setting. Emma and Ethan sat with their friends, trading snacks and talking about which exhibits were their favorites so far. No one noticed the air shimmer slightly at the edge of the woods. No human eyes could see the cloaked figures moving silently toward the children. Inside the Drekthar scout ship, the operation leader reported to Admiral Zeeklorn. "We have located a small group of young humans away from the main population center. They appear to be in a learning facility with minimal adult supervision." "Excellent," the Admiral replied. "Proceed with collection. Remember, no witnesses." Back at the Science Center, Ms. Rivera was helping a student open a juice box when a strange mist began to spread through the garden area. The teacher felt suddenly dizzy. She tried to call out to the children, but her voice wouldn't work. One by one, the adults and children began to collapse. Emma felt her eyes grow heavy. She reached for her brother's hand as she saw him slump forward onto the table. "Ethan," she whispered before everything went dark. The cloaked Drekthar moved quickly through the unconscious humans. Their scanners identified the youngest and healthiest specimens. 6 children were selected, including Emma and Ethan. The aliens placed breathing masks over the children's faces and lifted them effortlessly. "Specimens secured," the lead operative reported. "No resistance encountered." Within minutes, the collection team had returned to their hidden shuttle with the unconscious children. The gas would keep the remaining humans asleep for another 20 minutes, more than enough time to leave no evidence behind. As the shuttle lifted off silently, one of the Science Center security guards who had been inside the building during the attack stumbled out into the garden. His mind was foggy, but he managed to call 911 before collapsing again. 3 hours later, Frank Mitchell paced in the police station, his face pale with fear and confusion. "What do you mean they're gone?" he asked the tired detective. "People don't just vanish." Detective Jones shook his head. "Mr. Mitchell, we're doing everything we can. Everyone at the science center was unconscious when help arrived. No one saw anything. There's no sign of forced entry, no footprints, nothing on the security cameras. They just went dead for 12 minutes. Karen Mitchell sat in a chair nearby, holding a tissue to her face. "My babies," she whispered. "Who would take my babies?" Miles. Above Earth, Emma Mitchell slowly opened her eyes. She was lying on a strange bed that seemed to glow slightly. The room around her was made of smooth metal with no corners. A soft humming sound filled the air. "Ethan," she called, her voice shaking. She saw her brother on another bed nearby, still sleeping. 4 other children from her class were also there, all asleep. Emma tried to get up, but her body felt heavy and strange. That's when she noticed a tall figure standing in the doorway. It wasn't human. The creature had green, scaly skin, 4 arms, and large black eyes that watched her with interest. Emma screamed. In another part of the ship, Admiral Zickalorn reviewed the initial scans of their new specimens. "Fascinating," he said. "Their biology is simple, yet there's something unusual about their brain patterns." His science officer nodded. "Yes, Admiral. These young ones show remarkable neural plasticity. They will be perfect for our studies." A loud alarm suddenly blared through the ship. One of the crew rushed to a console. "Admiral, Earth defense satellites have detected our energy signature during departure. They've launched interceptor aircraft." Zickalorn frowned. "Impossible. Their technology shouldn't be able to detect us." He straightened his uniform. "No matter. Activate the jump drive. We've achieved our objective." The massive Drekthar vessel turned away from Earth, its engines glowing bright blue. In a flash of light, it disappeared into the depths of space, carrying 6 terrified children into the unknown. Back on Earth, in a classified underground facility, Captain Jack Russell was being briefed on an impossible situation. "Sir, we tracked an unknown object leaving Earth's atmosphere at speeds we've never recorded before," the young lieutenant explained. "It appeared out of nowhere, and the timing matches exactly with the disappearance of those children in Pinewood." "Captain," Russell's face hardened. "Are you telling me we just witnessed an alien abduction, Lieutenant?" "Yes, sir, I believe we did." "Then God help those aliens," Russell said quietly. "Because if they took our children, we're going to find them, and they'll learn why you never, ever threaten a human child." In deep space, the Drekthar ship accelerated toward home, unaware that they had just made the worst mistake in their species' history. Commander Vashishtar stood on the observation deck of the Galactic Concord diplomatic station. His tall, slender body was tense as he watched the stars. Though his blue skin and silver eyes made him look calm, inside he felt a growing storm of worry. A soft chime announced someone entering the room. Ambassador Nyla Kures approached with a datapad in her hand. Her purple robes flowed around her like water. "Commander, I have the report you requested," she said, her voice low and serious. Vashitar took the pad without a word. As he read, his silver eyes widened. "Are you certain this information is correct?" Nyla nodded. "Our intelligence network confirmed it. A Drekthar vessel entered Earth's atmosphere and abducted 6 human children before jumping to hyperspace." Vashtar closed his eyes and took a deep breath. They have no idea what they've done. He handed the pad back to Nyla. "Call an emergency session of the Concord Council, now." 3 hours later, representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations gathered in the grand chamber of the Concord station. Murmurs filled the room as Vashitar walked to the central platform. The Drekthar representative, a stern-looking female named Shenza, watched him with suspicion. Vashitar raised his hands for silence. "Honored representatives, we face a potential crisis. Intelligence reports confirm that a Drekthar military vessel has abducted several human children from Earth." Shenza stood up immediately. "These are internal Drekthar matters. The humans are a pre-FTL species under observation only. The Concord has no authority to interfere with our research." Vashitar turned to her, his voice suddenly sharp. "You captured human children? Are you insane?" The room went silent at his outburst. In 30 years as a diplomat, Vashitar had never lost his composure. "Perhaps the commander has spent too much time studying humans." Shenza said with a cold smile. He seems to have adopted their emotional responses. This is not about emotion, Vashtar replied. This is about survival. Yours. He turned to address the entire council. I have spent 20 Earth years studying human history and behavior. There is something you must understand about this species. He pressed a button, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed scenes from Earth. A mother lifting an overturned car to free her trapped child. Firefighters running into burning buildings to save strangers. Soldiers throwing themselves on explosives to protect their comrades. Humans have a protective instinct that goes beyond rational behavior, Vashatar explained. This is especially true when it comes to their young. Throughout their history, they have shown they will sacrifice everything, their safety, their resources, even their lives, to protect their children. Ambassador Nyla stepped forward. We have classified footage from our observation missions. She activated another display showing humans in various dangerous situations performing seemingly impossible feats to save children. A human adult becomes something else entirely when a child is in danger. Vashatar continued. Their strength increases, their fear disappears, and they will not stop. Not for pain, not for impossible odds, not for anything, until their young are safe. Shenza laughed. These are primitive beings barely out of their stone age. They have only recently discovered basic space travel. What threat could they possibly pose to the Drekthar Dominion? You still don't understand, Vashatar said quietly. Let me be clear. By taking their children, you have not just insulted the humans. You have not just violated Concord protocols. You have triggered something primal in the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. The chamber erupted in voices. Many representatives scoffed at the idea that humans could be dangerous to advanced civilizations. Vashatar waited for quiet before speaking again. The humans have already detected your ship's energy signature. Their technology is advancing, faster than any species we have studied. They went from first flight to landing on their moon in 66 years. Their rate of technological development is exponential, and now you have given them the ultimate motivation to accelerate that development. Finding their stolen children. On the Drekthar research vessel, Admiral Ziklorn watched as the human children were examined. They had been placed in separate rooms with observation windows. The children had awakened hours ago, and most were crying or calling for their parents. Emma and Ethan Mitchell sat huddled together in their room. Unlike the others, they weren't crying anymore. Instead, they whispered to each other and carefully studied everything around them. Our specimens seem to be adjusting, said Dr. Lax, the chief scientist. The brain scans show fascinating activity, especially in the pair you're watching. They appear to communicate on multiple levels. Admiral Ziklorn nodded. Excellent. Begin. The learning assessments tomorrow. I want to know everything about how these humans process information. A young officer rushed into the observation room. Admiral, we've received an urgent message from the Concord Council. They are demanding we return to Earth with the human specimens immediately. Ziklorn's scales darkened with anger. The Concord has no authority over our military operations. Send a message refusing their demand. Back on Earth in the underground facility now buzzing with activity, Captain Jack Russell met with his newly assembled team. Among them was Lieutenant Sam Hodges, an intelligence officer with access to government secrets few knew existed. Ladies and gentlemen, Russell began, what I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest level. 6 hours ago, an alien spacecraft abducted 6 children from Pinewood. Yes, you heard me correctly. Aliens are real and they've taken our kids. The room remained silent as the team processed this information. Lieutenant Hodges will brief you on what we know, Russell continued. Hodges stepped forward. For the past 40 years, our deep space monitoring program has detected signals suggesting intelligent life. 3 hours ago, we received this. He played an audio recording of strange sounds and clicks. Our computers have been working to decode. It appears to be a message in multiple languages, none of them human. However, we've identified repetition of patterns that match our known mathematical constants. Dr. Alice Gordon, a xenopsychologist who had spent her career preparing for potential alien contact, raised her hand. You're saying they're trying to communicate with us? Yes, Hodges replied. And we think it's about the abduction. Captain Russell pointed to a large object covered by a tarp. That's why we've been given clearance for this. He pulled away the tarp to reveal a sleek black craft unlike any conventional aircraft. This is the EDF interceptor Valiant. It's been in development for 15 years, reverse engineered from technology we couldn't explain. It's the fastest thing humans have ever built, and it might just be fast enough to follow those aliens. In the back of the room, Frank Mitchell stood. His face was haggard from hours of worry. I don't care what it is or how dangerous the mission. Those aliens took my children. I'm going with you to get them back. Captain Russell looked at the determined father. Mr. Mitchell, this isn't... I was Force Recon for 8 years, Frank interrupted. And those are my kids out there. Russell nodded slowly. Welcome to the team, Mr. Mitchell. In space, the message from Commander Vashitar reached the Drekthar ship. Return the human children immediately. You have awakened something you cannot control. 3 weeks after the abduction, Dr. Alice Gordon sat in her lab surrounded by screens filled with strange symbols. Dark circles under her eyes showed she hadn't slept much. She took another sip of cold coffee and continued typing. I've almost got it, she muttered to herself. For days, she had been working to decode the alien transmission that Earth had received shortly after the children disappeared. Suddenly, the computer made a cheerful sound. Words began to appear on the main screen, translated from the alien language. Oh my God, Alice whispered. She reached for her phone with shaking hands and dialed. Captain Russell, I've decoded the message. You need to see this now. An hour later, Captain Jack Russell stood in General Laura Patterson's office at Earth Military Command. The general, a stern woman with gray hair and a decorated uniform, read the translated message on a tablet. So it's confirmed, Patterson said, putting down the tablet. Not only are aliens real, but they took our children. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed anger. Yes, General, Russell replied. Dr. Gordon's translation is clear. The message is from something called the Galactic Concord. They're warning us that another alien group, the Drekthar, took the children for research. They're trying to get the children back, but the Drekthar aren't cooperating. General Patterson stood up and walked to a large window overlooking a hangar. Below, technicians worked on the sleek black shape of the EDF interceptor, Valiant. Is it ready? She asked. Yes, ma'am. The experimental FTL drive has been installed and tested in simulation. We've never used it in real space, but the engineers are confident. And your crew? The best we have. Military and scientific specialists, all volunteers, and Frank Mitchell, one of the fathers. He was Force Recon, and I couldn't say no to him. Patterson nodded. I wouldn't either. She turned to face Russell. Captain, this mission goes beyond rescuing those 6 children, though that alone would be enough. This is humanity's first step into a larger universe, and it seems we're walking into a hornet's nest. Those children are counting on you. Their parents are counting on you. Earth is counting on you. We won't let them down, General. In a different part of the facility, Frank Mitchell sat in a briefing room with Karen and other parents of the missing children. An officer was explaining what they had learned. The aliens call themselves the Drekthar. They took your children for research because they're interested in how humans learn, the officer said carefully. Karen's hands covered her mouth. Are our babies okay? The message from the Concord suggests they're alive and unharmed, the officer assured her. These Concord aliens seem to be trying to help us. Frank's face was like stone. When do we leave? The mission launches in 6 hours, the officer replied. Mr. Mitchell, you've been cleared to join as a special consultant due to your military background. The rest of you will be kept informed of all developments. Karen grabbed Frank's hand. Bring them home, she whispered. Bring our babies home. In the launch bay, Lieutenant Olivia Clark ran final checks on the Valiant's navigation systems. The ship looked small from the outside, but its interior contained technology beyond what most humans had ever seen. Navigation systems green, she reported to Captain Russell as he entered the bridge. FTL drive is responding to all tests. Good work, Lieutenant, Russell said, taking his command chair. Is everyone aboard? Yes, sir. All crew accounted for. Mr. Mitchell is in his quarters. Russell nodded and pressed a button on his chair. This is Captain Russell. All hands prepare for departure. We are about to attempt humanity's first faster-than-light journey. Our mission is clear. Find the missing children and bring them home. Whatever we face out there, remember we carry the hopes of 6 families and the future of Earth with us. He turned to Lieutenant Clark. Take us out, Lieutenant, nice and easy. The Valiant rose silently from its hangar. Its dark hull reflected the sunlight as it climbed higher into the sky. Within minutes, it had left Earth's atmosphere and moved beyond the moon. We've cleared safe distance, Captain, Clark reported. Ready for FTL. Engage when ready, Russell ordered. The crew held their breath as Clark activated the experimental drive. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the stars outside the viewports stretched into lines of light. The ship shuddered once, and suddenly they were moving faster than any human had traveled before. On the Galactic Concord station, Commander Vashatar received an urgent message from Earth observation posts. Commander, the humans have launched. A vessel, a young aide reported. It's using FTL technology. Vashatar's silver eyes widened. Impossible. Their technological development shouldn't be at that level for at least another 100 years. Ambassador Nyla rushed into the room. They've decoded our message and they're going after their children, she said breathlessly. We must act quickly, or this will turn into an interspecies war. Vashtar nodded grimly. Prepare my ship. We need to catch up with the humans before they reach the Drekthar. As he gathered his materials, he added, and send another warning to Admiral Zeeklorn. Tell him exactly what is coming for him. On the Drekthar research station, Emma and Ethan Mitchell had spent weeks carefully observing their captors. Unlike the other children who remained frightened, the twins had developed a system of communication with each other that the aliens couldn't understand. They used hand signals and code words from games they played at home. They always check on us at the same times, Emma whispered to her brother as they sat in their room. And the nice alien doctor always comes alone. Ethan nodded. Do you think they're looking for us, Mom and Dad? I know they are, Emma said firmly. Dad was a Marine. He told us he went all over the world to help people. He'll come to space, too. A soft hiss announced the door opening. Dr. Ryan Cooper, a Drekthar scientist who had begun to question the ethics of the mission, entered with their food trays. How are you feeling today? He asked in his strange accent. He had learned basic human language from Earth broadcasts. Emma smiled at him. We're okay. Can we have something to draw with? Dr. Cooper hesitated, then nodded. I will bring materials. Next time. As he turned to leave, he whispered, Help is coming. Be ready. After he left, Ethan looked at his sister with wide eyes. Did you hear that? Emma nodded, hope filling her heart for the first time in weeks. I told you. They're coming. For us. In deep space, the Valiant continued its journey, following the energy trail left by the Drekthar ship. In his quarters, Frank Mitchell looked at a photo of his family and made a silent promise to his children. Behind them, unnoticed by Earth's sensors, Ambassador Nyla's diplomatic vessel also jumped to FTL speed. She had one mission: prevent a war between humans and the rest of the galaxy. The Valiant traveled through space faster than any human vessel before. On the bridge, Captain Russell studied the star charts that Lieutenant Clark had created based on the alien ship's trail. We're entering an area of space with no human records, Clark said. These stars don't match any of our maps. Chief Science Officer Greg Duncan looked up from his station. Captain, I'm picking up energy readings ahead. It appears to be some kind of space station. Russell leaned forward in his chair. Is it the Drekthar? The energy signature matches what we detected during the abduction, Duncan confirmed. It must be them. In the crew area, Sergeant Maria Rodriguez briefed her Marine rescue team. Q. Soldiers in black combat gear checked their weapons and equipment. Our mission is simple, Rodriguez said. Find the children and bring them home. We go in quiet. We find our targets. We leave. No heroics. Frank Mitchell sat among them, his face determined. He wore the same gear as the Marines, though his sleeve lacked their unit patches. "Mitchell," Rodriguez said, "you're with me. But remember, you follow my orders. I understand those are your kids, but emotions can get people killed." Frank nodded. "I understand, Sergeant. I'll do whatever it takes to get all the children home. Safely." The intercom crackled to life with Captain Russell's voice. "All hands, prepare for deceleration. We've located the Drekthar station." On the Drekthar research station, Admiral Zeklorn reviewed the latest reports on the human children. He was particularly interested in the Mitchell twins. "Their problem-solving abilities are exceptional," he told his science team. "They've already mastered simple Drekthar number systems and communication patterns." "Admiral," one of his officers interrupted, "we've detected an unknown vessel approaching. It's using some form of propulsion we've never seen before." Zeklorn frowned. "Show me." The screen displayed a small, dark ship moving toward the station. As they watched, the ship slowed from FTL speed. "That's impossible," Zeklorn whispered. "The design is human." "Sir, we're receiving another message from the Conquered," an officer reported. "Commander Vashitar says he's also approaching our position and demands we prepare to return the human children." Zeklorn's scales darkened with anger. "The humans shouldn't have this technology. They were a pre-FTL species just weeks ago." He turned to his security chief. "Put the station on alert. Prepare defense systems. No one is taking our research subjects." In their room, Emma and Ethan noticed the sudden increase in activity. The usual calm routine of the station had changed. They could hear rapid footsteps and urgent voices in the hallway. "Something's happening," Ethan whispered. Emma nodded. She moved to the small air vent they had discovered days ago. It was too small to climb through, but sound traveled through it from other parts of the station. She pressed her ear against it and listened. "They're coming," she said with a smile. "I heard the aliens talking. A ship from Earth is here." Ethan's eyes widened. "What do we do? Remember Dr. Cooper said to be ready? We need to help the other kids." Emma pointed to the drawing materials the alien doctor had given them. "We've been making maps of this place for days. It's time to use them." Meanwhile, Dr. Cooper hurried through the station corridors. He had made his decision days ago when he realized the horror of what his people had done. Taking children from their families for research was against everything he believed in as a scientist. He entered the control room for the children's section and quickly typed commands into the console. The security systems would deactivate for exactly 2 minutes during the next shift change, enough time for the children to get to the emergency shuttle bay he had prepared. On the Valiant, Captain Russell called an emergency meeting when sensors detected a second ship approaching. "It's not Drekthar," Lieutenant Hodges reported. "The design is completely different. It appears to be slowing to make contact." "Weapons status?" Russell asked. "The alien vessel has defensive capabilities, but no weapons are active," Hodges replied. "They're transmitting a message. Put it through." The main screen filled with the image of Commander Vashitar. The bridge crew stared at the first alien face they had ever seen. "Human vessel," Vashitar said in carefully practiced English. I'm Commander Vashitar of the Galactic Conquered. I come in peace and wish to help recover your children." Russell stood straight. "I'm Captain Jack Russell of Earth. Why should we trust you?" "Because I warned your people about the abduction," Vashitar replied. "The Drekthar acted against our laws. I'm here to prevent this situation from escalating into war." Russell considered. "This. What can you tell us about the station's defenses?" Vashitar sent technical data to the Valiant's computers. "The Drekthar have defensive capabilities, but they won't expect humans to have advanced technology. Your ship's design is surprising." Lieutenant Clark studied the station schematics. "Captain, there's a weakness in their sensor grid. We could approach from below their main detection array." "Sergeant Rodriguez," Russell called over the comm. "Prep your team. We go in silent." As the human vessel maneuvered closer to the station, Ambassador Nyla's ship dropped out of FTL nearby. "Commander!" she called urgently to Vashitar. "The humans have moved faster than we predicted. The Council is in emergency session." "Too late for talk," Vashatar replied. The humans are already here. Inside the station, Emma had gathered the other children in their room. At 8 years old, she was the natural leader. We have to be brave, she told them. My dad always says to stay calm in scary situations. She showed them the crude map she and Ethan had drawn. Dr. Cooper said the door locks will turn off soon. When they do, we follow this path to the shuttle bay. A 10-year-old girl named Zara Williams raised her hand. What if the aliens catch us? They won't, Emma said with confidence beyond her years. And our parents are coming. The Valiant docked at a maintenance port on the underside of the station. Sergeant Rodriguez led her team through the airlock, with Frank Mitchell right behind her. Station gravity and atmosphere are compatible with Earth, Lieutenant Hayes reported, checking his equipment. Minimal life signs in this section. Rodriguez nodded. Move out, stay in formation. They moved silently through dimly lit corridors, following the path shown on their displays. Frank's heart pounded in his chest. His children were somewhere in this alien place. In the station's command center, alarms suddenly blared. Intruder, alert in Section 7, an officer shouted. Admiral Zeke Lorne rose from his chair. Impossible. How did they get aboard? He turned to his security chief. Find them, and move the human subjects to secure holding. But when security forces reached the children's quarters, they found the rooms empty. The children had vanished. Dr. Cooper watched from his hidden position as Emma led the other children through the maintenance tunnels. She followed his instructions perfectly, staying in the blind spots of the security sensors. At the same moment, Rodriguez's team encountered their first Drekthar guards. The aliens fired strange weapons that released bursts of energy. Take cover, Rodriguez ordered. Frank ducked behind a wall as energy blasts hit nearby. He had one thought. His children were close. Nothing would stop him now. Outside the station, Commander Vashatar contacted Admiral Zeke Lorne. This is your final warning. Return the human children peacefully. Never, Zeke Lorne replied. The humans shouldn't even be here. How did they develop? FTL so quickly? I tried to warn you, Vashatar said sadly. Humans don't stop, not when it comes to their young. The battle in the corridor intensified as more Drekthar security forces arrived. Sergeant Rodriguez and her team took cover behind alien machinery while energy blasts hit the walls around them. We need to move forward, Frank shouted over the noise. The children could be anywhere in this station. Lieutenant Ben Hayes, the team's demolition expert, pulled a small device from his pack. I've got something that might help. He tossed the device toward the Drekthar. There was a flash of bright light and a high-pitched sound that made the aliens cover their ears in pain. Now, Rodriguez ordered, and the team rushed forward. They moved quickly through the stunned aliens, heading deeper into the station. In another part of the station, Emma led the other children through narrow maintenance tunnels. Her brother Ethan followed closely, helping younger kids when they struggled to keep up. Are we almost there? Zara Williams asked, her voice shaking. With fear and excitement, Emma checked the map Dr. Cooper had helped them draw. Just a little further, the shuttle bay should be around this corner. As they turned the corner, they found 2 Drekthar guards blocking their path. The children froze in terror. One guard reached for his communication device, but before he could use it, Dr. Cooper appeared behind them. The alien doctor used a medical device to spray something in the guards' faces. They collapsed instantly. Quickly, children, Dr. Cooper said. The shuttle is prepared. We must hurry before more security arrives. In the station's command center, Admiral Zeke Lorne's anger grew as reports of problems flooded in. The human subjects have escaped their quarters. Human forces have breached Section 9. The Concord vessel is demanding our surrender, his officers reported one after another. This is unacceptable, Zeke Lorne shouted, slamming his 4 hands on the console. I will not be defeated by primitives. He turned to his second-in-command. Begin station self-destruct sequence. If we cannot keep our research, no one will have it. The officer looked shocked. Admiral, there are over 300 Drekthar on this station. Begin the sequence, Zeke Lorne repeated coldly. That is an order. On the bridge of the Valiant, Captain Russell received an urgent message from Commander Vashitar. Captain, our sensors detect the Drekthar have activated their self-destruct system. You have less than 20 minutes to evacuate. Russell immediately activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is the captain. The station is set to self-destruct. Sergeant Rodriguez, status report. Rodriguez's voice came through, with static. Sir, we're approaching the central hub. No sign of the children yet. Find them and get out. You have 19 minutes. Frank Mitchell felt a cold fear grip his heart. 19 minutes to find his children in this massive alien station. He pushed forward with renewed determination. As they rounded a corner, they heard children's voices. Frank broke into a run, ignoring Rodriguez's order to stay in formation. He burst through a doorway into a large shuttle bay, and there they were. 6 human children huddled around an alien figure. Emma, Ethan, Frank shouted. The twins turned, their faces lighting up with joy. Dad! They screamed together, running toward him. Frank dropped to his knees and caught them in his arms, holding them tightly. I knew you'd come, Emma said, her voice muffled, against his chest. I will always come for you. Frank replied, tears in his eyes. Always. Sergeant Rodriguez quickly assessed the situation. We need to move now. This station is going to blow. Dr. Cooper stepped forward. I have prepared a shuttle for the children. It is programmed to reach Earth. Rodriguez eyed the alien suspiciously. And you are? He helped us, Emma explained. He gave us food and showed us how to escape. Before Rodriguez could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The lights turned red, and an announcement in the Drekthar language echoed through the shuttle bay. That says we have 15 minutes until destruction, Dr. Cooper translated. You must go now. The team began moving the children toward the exit when Admiral Zeklorn suddenly appeared with a squad of armed guards. You will not take my research subjects, the Admiral snarled, pointing a weapon at the group. Frank stepped in front of the children. They're not research subjects, they're our children. Zeklorn laughed. Your primitive species doesn't understand the importance of scientific progress. The knowledge we could gain is worth more than their individual lives. From behind them, a calm voice spoke. That is where you are wrong, Admiral. Commander Vashitar walked into the shuttle bay flanked by Concord peacekeepers. The Concord Council has ruled. The children will be returned to Earth immediately. The Concord has no authority over me, Zeklorn shouted, his scales darkening with rage. Frank looked at his children, then at the alien who had taken them. Something primal awoke in him, the instinct that Vashitar had warned about. With a sudden movement, he lunged forward faster than anyone expected. The Admiral fired his weapon, but Frank was already moving. He tackled Zeklorn to the ground with such force that they slid across the metal floor. The Admiral's guards raised their weapons, but Rodriguez's team was faster, disarming them with precise shots. Frank pinned the alien Admiral down, his face inches from Zeklorn's. You took my children, he said, his voice deadly quiet. On Earth, that's the worst mistake you could ever make. For the first time, real fear showed in Zeklorn's eyes as he realized what Vashitar had tried to tell him. Humans were indeed different when their young were threatened. Dad, we need to go, Ethan called urgently. The station is shaking. Frank released the Admiral and returned to his children. Rodriguez's team, along with all 6 children, Dr. Cooper, and the Concord representatives, rushed toward the exit. 10 minutes to destruction, the station computer announced. They made it back to the Valiant with moments to spare. As the ship detached from the station, they saw other escape pods launching, carrying Drekthar crew members. What about the Admiral? Emma asked as they watched from the viewport. He chose to stay with his station, Vashitar said quietly. The Valiant accelerated away just as the Drekthar station exploded in a ball of light. The force of the blast pushed the ship, but Lieutenant Clark's skilled piloting kept them safe. In the ship's medical bay, Karen Mitchell spoke to her husband and children through a video call, tears streaming down her face as she saw them together and safe. 2 weeks later on Earth, a historic meeting took place. Commander Vashistar and Ambassador Nyla, representing the Galactic Concord, met with world leaders in a secret location. Today marks a new chapter for your species, Vashistar announced. The Concord formally recognizes Earth as a spacefaring civilization, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. A new treaty was signed that day, with special provisions about the treatment of children, provisions suggested by Emma Mitchell, who had become something of a celebrity as one of the first human children in space. Later, as Commander Vashistar prepared to return to Concord space, he spoke privately with Frank and his family. "Your children showed remarkable courage," he told Frank. "They will be remembered in galactic history. We just want them to be kids again," Frank replied, his arm around his wife. Vashistar nodded. "I understand, but know this. Your response to the abduction has changed how the galaxy views humans. Many species now respect what we once feared." "And what's that?" Karen asked. "Your protective instinct," Vashistar replied. "It makes you both terrifying and admirable." He looked at the Mitchell twins with a smile. "I will use this incident to teach other species an important lesson. Never, ever come between humans and their children. There are safer ways to commit suicide." As the alien departed, Emma looked up at her father. "Dad, will we go to space again someday?" Frank hugged his daughter close. "Someday, sweetheart, but this time, we'll go together." Above them, the stars seemed closer than ever before, marking the beginning of humanity's journey into the larger universe, a journey that had begun with a parent's love and determination to find their children, no matter how far they had to go.